which I might have to do. That again. And that's okay. That's an Instagram thing, huh? Instagram makes you do it every single time. Let's make it public for now. Not really expecting anybody to pop in, but always fun. And I do need to delete these as soon as they're live. But hey, at least we know now. So we'll adjust the settings. I'll go ahead and stop. We'll go live again. Those. And make sure we go live. Should be going live. Doesn't seem to be giving me an error anymore. Okay. Go live. Hit the button. Okay, so now we should be able to chat with everyone. Let me just, I guess, test that. Hello. Hi. How's it going? I'm just testing some new stream settings. It's Rock Guru though. How you doing, bud? Let's see. I should say hey to like 5 people, 4 people. It sent it on Instagram, sent it on YouTube, sent it on Kick, and sent it on Twitch. So Ross Guru, do you watch streams anywhere else? Alright. Now that all of our streams are live, and technically we're streaming to like 5 different places. Let's check my channel real quick. Oh, you do watch streams on Kick. You're not gambling, are you? Okay, so if I go to my channel, we can see I'm live here. And then shorts, I don't see my short live. See live here. So it doesn't appear as though my YouTube Shorts is going live. But that's okay. This is all testing anyway. I imagine you can only stream to 1. That would make sense, I guess. Hey, what's happening? Who's that? It's Maxi. How you doing, Maxi? How's the Fortnite solo games going? I peeped a couple. Right now I'm testing streaming to multiple platforms at the same time. I was trying to stream to both YouTube, like vertical and horizontal, but I don't think that's working. Who's that? Okay, so clicking on it, it's doing the shorts. And then I also saw on this tab, the home tab. So it is streaming to the shorts then. Which, I mean, isn't a bad thing. You guys can't even see what I'm doing. Sorry. Sorry! It appears as though I'm, Oh, nice! You've been dabbling with UEFN. I opened it and I did tinker around as well. It's you have to go all in, and it's really good to hear that you're going for it. I'm working in normal Unreal Engine, and I think UEFN has a lot of potential, tons of potential. However, I kind of weighed the pros and cons, and for me, I'm almost limited if I do UEFN, because, and I'll just put it bluntly, UEFN I would do if I wanted to make money. If I wanted to make like a story, which is kind of like what I've been imagining this whole time, is like a really narrative-driven project, I decided UE, like normal Unreal Engine, is what you would want to do. Yeah, I would agree it's harder, but it's also, you get a lot more customization. Right now, there's like a working marketplace. So for example, one thing I'll be doing on these test streams is working with materials. So I've been setting up a shader that is specifically for stylized aesthetics. So this character, I guess I could bring up the original, just for comparison. Oh, I have a lot of assets. You don't have to know anything about code, especially with Unreal Engine. And this is where I wish I had kind of jumped into it sooner. Unreal Engine has a fantastic blueprint system where it's just like you connect the dots, really. I just wanted to show off real quick. So we have one thing you should definitely do, Maxi, if you're just doing UEFN, grab the free stuff in the marketplace. This is like every month you get free stuff. So this is what the golem looks like using PBR materials. And so what I'm tinkering with right now is converting it to a more stylized aesthetic. So that's what we're working on today, just chatting really. Ikion, what's up, dude? Miximo's perfect, Maxi. Have you heard of Heat? That's another good alternative. It's a new AI Miximo, really. I think this is the one. Ikion, hope you're doing well, buddy. This is not, that's not it. It's called Heat, and people make AI animations. Maybe if I type in animations, it'll help. I know people have been making a lot of videos about it lately, but I'll drop you a link before I get started on what I'm doing. I'm doing fantastic, Eon. Even better now that you're here. But, yeah, overall, just been staying in my lane. Can't complain. Life is good, you know? Life is good. So, how y'all doing? So these are all assets that not only do people create, if you are into making animations, you can make money from this. But they have a whole library that's like drag and drop with anything, and it's interconnected. As you may know, Miximo kind of like went out of business. They were bought by Adobe, and Adobe just stopped supporting it. But Miximo is still a great library. It's just a little bit outdated. So Heat is kind of making all those integrations with their own platform. Highly recommend it. All right, let's get to work. So what am I doing? I'm gonna be connecting some assets together. Very good to know. So pretty much some labor-intensive work. It's one of those things you can't really avoid if you're trying to make a consolidated art style. But essentially, I'm turning PBR materials, which is like physically based rendering. So generally they have like 4 different texture maps. And then I'm going to be throwing them through a stylized shader. So these are all of the assets that I basically have to convert. I have a huge collection of assets. And so the goal is, because there's so many different artists that made them, I'm trying to create like this bridging art style using a stylized shader. Now that might not make sense, but every time you guys pop in, you'll probably get an idea of what's happening, what's different. But yeah, thanks guys for just popping in. I appreciate it. Enjoy your day. I don't expect anyone to be here, you know, more than a couple minutes, to be honest. We live in a ADHD society. So yeah, we'll just start with a random house here. And so getting into the flow is what is really important here. Because it's going to take a while, I'm not going to lie. So what we have is a house, and there's a couple things I have to do. The first thing that sticks out that I have to do is the pivot point. So we'll create a new pivot point for this. So there's a tool inside of Unreal Engine where we can edit the pivot point and set it to the center and then the bottom, and click accept. So now the pivot point is in the correct place. Now I can work on those materials. So if I open up the material drawer, this material we are going to be adjusting. And the first thing I'll do is change the standard material and use the new instance that I created. So we have material and a material instance. Both of them are the same material. And so these are the PBR materials. So we have base texture, normal texture, and an ORM. So an ORM, this is something that I've been practicing a lot in terms of making, but it's basically 3 materials combined into one. So ORM stands for ambient occlusion, O, roughness, R. Oh yeah. Yeah, I think Maxi, they probably have the same exact tool. It is a plugin that I had to enable, but there's very likely a pivot tool in UEFN. But dude, I can't wait to hear what you make with UEFN. I have some ideas I would do with it, but at the same time, it's kind of like it's a different path. And I decided I need to stick to my current path if I want to make anything, you know? A lot of distractions. All right, so we have our material. It's old house planks. So first thing I'd want to do is find the relative textures. So easiest way to do that is to go into one of the other materials, the one I'm not editing. So as we can see, this particular house, which I'll go back to selection mode. This particular house has 3 materials. So that's the planks, the walls, and the roof. And what's nice... Oh, you do? Nice. Oh, I imagine. Wait, you have to spend 7 days? Like it's kind of like a timer? I guess that helps with bots. People trying to game the system. Okay, so we're going to find that material. And then we're looking for the planks. So I'll just do a quick search for planks. We can find all the materials here. So again, the 3 materials that I know I want, and that's why they're set up like this, which all of these sections I customized, but it was a stylized shader that I kind of purchased off the marketplace. So first thing we'll add is the base texture. So because I searched, we have our base texture. We have our normal. And metallic smoothness. Oh yeah, so I may have to open up Krita for this part. Krita is a Photoshop alternative, so if you out there do not want to pay for Photoshop, I recommend Krita. Yeah, dude, Maxi, that's my cup of tea too. The animation system in Unreal is top notch, and so UEFN inherits that too. So I know it's worth the time spent. All right, so this is our metallic roughness. So we can see here we have nothing. Oh no, we do have something on the red channel, something on the green channel, and something on the blue channel. Make sure to adjust this so people can see. So we have red, green, and blue, and the nice thing is that all RGB are all using the exact same texture. So this is the roughness or metallic smoothness. Now the alpha channel has its own map. So we have RGB, which all have the exact same map, and then the alpha channel has its own unique map. So there's 2 different maps on one file. Yarnikin! What's up, yo? Howdy, howdy. So I'm trying this voice text to speak out. I honestly don't need it. But we'll see. Like, if anybody starts abusing it, I'll be quick to turn it off. So I have everybody's chat up on screen too. Right now we only have people on Twitch, but I do have YouTube running, Kick running, and Instagram running, just to see how it happens, how it works. Oh, I see. Interesting. Okay. But yeah, alpha channel and RGB channel. Now I could do some texture packing, which I'll probably have to do by the end of this. Right now we have the ORM, so we'll go ahead and plug it in. I can't promise anything, Maxi. If anything, this is just a trial run. I've always considered streaming as a hobby instead of a career. But, you know, if things start accelerating, you know, I'd love to pick it up again. But I'm not going to promise anything. I think promising something is the worst thing you can do. One thing I'm not going to be doing is asking for subscriptions, especially on Twitch. Instead, I have like a Patreon and Coffee. So both of those are ways to support me without commitment. I guess Patreon is a commitment, huh? So this is metallic and roughness. Now, the problem is that the way I have my entire system set up is that roughness is on the green channel, metallic is on the blue channel. The way this is set is that it has metallic on RGB, and then on the alpha channel. Hey Hoddle, how you doing? Welcome. Hope you have a nice day. And we have the smoothness on the alpha channel. So I could set up a toggle, which would save me a lot of time, and I think that's the most important thing I can do is just save myself some time. But this is something I learned. It's worth practicing, I suppose. So this is the custom shader that I got off the marketplace. It's for stylized aesthetics. And what I'll do is I'll set up a new toggle for this particular pack, which uses the metallic smoothness. So the smoothness is the one we're going to be adjusting, which is our roughness. Oh, I appreciate that, Maxi. Teaching, I can't say that I'm like active at teaching. Instead, I enjoy talking through what I'm doing, and that in itself is like a teaching moment. Not only for me to help me like solidify things, but also for those watching, they can understand, you know, the thought process and, you know, how to do things. However, one thing I want to iterate is that learning is best done through doing. And I think that can be said for any type of learning. So if you really want to learn UEFN, keep doing what you're doing and literally do it. just start making stuff. I know you know exactly what I'm saying. Okay, so we have enable roughness on the G map. So I'm going to copy paste that. And this is another kind of like switch parameter. So this would be renamed to alpha. And I'm basically going to take those same inputs, which right now we're getting an add. Oh, I couldn't agree more. And we have roughness and alpha. So how do I want to do this? So if we're using a switch map, it's using one of these. And I just want to make sure I do it right. I mean, doing it wrong isn't going to hurt me, because I can just go back and edit it. So the alpha map needs its own section, I believe. So it's going to need this pin. And I think I just need to make a new addition here. So we're going to add it into base map. And so this would go into the true because it's a toggle. So it's basically saying, oh, the roughness map is in the alpha channel. And that's true. Okay. So then I would add that to the roughness. Okay. That is correct. And then we're also using an addition here. This is basically the default setting. Would be using that one. So in terms of enable roughness, I think we'll do default set to true here. And then we can multiply these so that one is always being used. Or add. I think add is actually the right choice. Holding down A, oops, wrong button. Holding down A gives me the add. And then basically, yeah, I mean, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but there is like so much to learn. Like, I don't think I've even brushed 5% of what Unreal Engine can do. Materials is definitely one of the best places to start. So understanding PBR. Okay, so now we have 2 settings for my roughness that I can choose from. And ideally, I don't want them to be both on at the same time, but I guess they could be. Isn't terrible if it happens. See, now we have the enable roughness alpha map. And so instead, I'll enable that and disable the green channel. So it is going to take a moment to render the shaders. All right, let's see how my computer's handling these streams. That's not good. That's not good at all. So OBS it's probably going to have a meltdown. And Unreal is taking up a lot of processing power. Scalability, probably set that to low for now. I mean, this is kind of what I was afraid of. So what does this mean? What do I need to do to change? Well, talking out loud here, I'll probably have to find a new solution. Oh, bummer. Yeah, GPU is probably one of the easiest things to consider upgrading. It's just like instant improvement as soon as you upgrade your GPU. Right now, I'm running OBS and streaming to 5 different places. And so that's what I'm trying to balance right now, and that's why my CPU is getting a little bit overheated, overworked. It's not doing too bad, though. I think it was just because I was building that shader. It maxed out to 100%. But at the same time, you don't really want to reach 100%. That's gonna cause some problems. It is still having a hard time. Hey, this is what tests are for. So what would I change? I'd probably set up a streaming, like a multi-stream. Like I'll probably have to pay for it, which I've been trying to avoid. Oh, do I? It doesn't look like I have Discord open, but I do have things I could close probably. But yeah, it's fine for now. Okay, so... Oh, okay. I thought you were psychic. I thought you were plugged in. You're hacking, bro. Okay, so a lot of these are enabled by default. Which is fine, it's just I need to make sure they're disabled. So like enable base texture, pretty much always going to be on. Okay, so that's going to add the shader with the stylized graphic. We can see here an immediate difference. So what this does is it allows custom depth to be enabled by default. And all that does is it kind of like simulates a new lighting environment. So it's cell shading specifically. Similar to what Fortnite does. Fortnite, I actually really love their art style. The main reason I'm using Unreal Engine is for lip sync with characters, which I already have like set up. Like all that's good. Now it's more about materials and making sure everything's using the same art style. But yeah, alright, that's step one of this house. Pretty much done. So now we gotta add the other materials. Everything else here, settings-wise, is pretty much good to go. It was more or less creating that toggle, because these particular materials, as we saw, have like a unique roughness map. So if I turn off that roughness map, we should see a difference. Oh, I believe it. I wonder if I could take some of that out. I hadn't thought of that, Maxi. Maybe I can take some of it. It might be like inside Fortnite, you know? And that also might get me in trouble. So... I imagine nobody would throw a fit if I did that. So it doesn't look like the roughness is actually getting disabled here. It's much more apparent when I disable this. So it's supposed to be adding. I'm thinking out loud here. I mean, I can always come back to this. I'm not really sure if I did this correctly. So it's using the ORM texture, it's adding it. So I think I needed to do this. Start claiming. Oh, Ikion, you've been doing that? That's big brain move, Ikion. Do you have plans with all those assets? I started later than I wish. Like, I think I started like a year ago. And they've been doing it for years. Yeah, Gardican, I was in Unity for a while. Also, are you interested in Unity or Unreal Engine, Gardican? Unity is falling behind compared to Unreal Engine. Unreal Engine can do much more, much better. Unity does do certain things better. Virtual reality, it's very supported by Unity compared to Unreal. Unreal does have support, but Unity is kind of like better for optimization as well as just like overall infrastructure for VR, as well as mobile. And mobile, Unity has a far better ad structure, which is like the whole reason. Just in case, Ikion. Hey, you gotta make the just in case happen. Alright. So, that particular material, I think I fixed. It's still preparing shaders. You guys can't see the loading bar at the bottom here, behind my little avatar. So it's still loading, but we'll probably see a difference. I think that was the one thing I was missing. Alright, next up, changing the walls. So, here. Yeah. Yeah, it is in the marketplace. So Unreal Engine is basically another tab in the Epic Games like storefront. kind of like their Steam, which, as you are well aware of Fortnite and all that, I think all you have to do is install Unreal Engine from their store. Then it like pops up in the tab here. All right, I can't be tapping out too much. My computer is having a heart attack. All right, same workflow here. Yeah, thanks guys for popping in, saying hi. I'm just working on getting this stream optimized. It's a fun hobby. All right, I'm gonna close this. Okay, so these are all gonna have roughness alpha. No AO. They don't have AO by default. They do have metallic. They do not have roughness. Okay. So we have our textures here. We have albedos, metallic smoothness, normal. Two different normals. We have a normal raw. This is for plaster, which I'm assuming is a different house altogether. Plaster walls. Okay. This is a metallic smoothness, which all they have is a smoothness channel, which is fine. We just need to make sure we plug it in correctly. And we'll select the other materials, make sure they're in the right inputs. And that should be our walls. And we can see how it looks. It's a little bit bright, but that's a setting I can adjust on like a global level. But I'm not going to spend too much time doing that right now. I just want to make sure the materials are plugged in. So we can see here it has the maps, and they're showing up. One thing I do want to make sure is that this metallic is working. So we'll disable the metallic and then make sure the roughness is working, because we noticed it didn't have metallic, it only had roughness. So if I click this, it should disable it altogether. So now it won't have... We can see the shadows appear, which is from the normals. Roughness is supposed to give it kind of a little bit more texture. So if we enable this, we should see a difference, but it doesn't seem to be doing anything. Which is what is worrying me, because if it's not working, then I have to texture pack it, and that usually takes a lot of time. It also takes a lot more computer bandwidth. I ain't got that. So I would basically have to remake the materials, which isn't a big deal. It's also something I should do regardless. But I'm not noticing a difference here. It says metallic smoothness. There is a potential for this map to be inverted to where it's like the smoothness is on the other channel. Also, this doesn't really seem to be doing anything. Hell yeah, Maxi. Welcome to the club. Now you have to use it, or it'll all be for naught. But there is no difference happening. So that's why I'm concerned. Because this texture should be adding right here. So I might be adding too much then. Hey, Go West. Thanks for popping in. I hope you have a good move. Hope your mom's doing awesome. Enjoy your day, Go West. See. Right now, trying to think on the best way to approach this. Right now I'm adding multiple materials. I was doing that before as well. And so I think what's happening is I'm adding twice. And I don't need to add twice. So if I should also try to make these a little bit more organized. So if I'm adding twice, that's part of the problem. Because right now it's probably using some sort of default setting. Alright, that's going to take another minute to load. That's okay, we can work on the next one. We got a roof. First thing I should acknowledge is how many materials it has. So it's only one material, but textures. We have metallic smoothness, normal, albedo. So we have a plane, but I don't think I have to worry about those. A lot of these I'm going to have to double check. Long story short, the asset I'm working with came from Unity. So it was built differently in Unity. So everything I'm doing right now is kind of like converting it to be used in Unreal Engine. Alright. So we'll enable these maps. We're using the roughness alpha. We can disable the other maps. So the one thing I'm concerned about is this isn't really doing anything. But it's a problem we'll just have to come back to. What's nice about materials like this is you can customize the color. Yeah, I mean, these are FBX files. Unreal kind of like converts it into its own format when you import them, so it doesn't have to be any specific file type. So that's nice. It actually supports like GLTF, GLB. I haven't done too much testing with it, but you can get sandbox characters in here. The only problem is Sandbox doesn't have like a skeleton. So there are workarounds. I've experimented with it, but like if you ever wanted to make a Sandbox style game. Yeah, I say the same thing all the time, but you know, now is the best time. Always has been, always will be. Okay, so there's the roof. So we can see here some of these slats, different color. I don't know if that's going to be a problem. It's just based on how the light's hitting it. Does seem like it would be a problem. Oh, nice, Maxi. So you're not doing too much sandbox stuff? Overall, it seems like the house looks like it worked out. And so what's nice is a lot of these are using the same materials. So we can see most of them use the same exact material as this house. Whoops. Now if I turn this off. We'll move these over one at a time as we adjust their pivot point. So do edit pivot, center, and bottom. Accept. If it were possible, I would do these in bulk, but I tried doing them in bulk yesterday, and it basically said, oh, you want the pivot point to be the center of everything rather than individually. That's what it is. So I just have to click each one individually. Let's save them. Yeah, I'll be the first to admit, Maxi, I was really invested in making games, not so much in playing games. So, in terms of games, I would want to play. Oh, is my voice cutting off? It's probably due to my processor. How am I sounding now? Do I sound okay now? Oh, it does look like I'm maxing out. It's not exactly a great sign. Should probably stop resetting these materials. Because every time I do that, it's gonna break. Yeah, thank you, Garnican. I feel you, Maxi. If anything, change is good. I appreciate change. And I applaud those that embrace it. Well, looks like it settled down, so we're good again. But I think I'm gonna have to find a new solution for streaming everything in terms of like where to put it. Like I'm probably gonna stream it to one server, and then that server streams everywhere else. Which I can either pay $20 a month, or I can try and bootleg it. Save me 20 bucks a month. I always prefer the bootleg method. But it looks like my material got scuffed here. Exactly, Maxi, yep. Okay, so we have our materials. And ideally, I should be making new materials. I think that's the better way to approach this. So I'm gonna do a new folder here. My materials. And so what I can do then is take the materials I've already made and make a copy here. So this is going to be house walls. So I'll do material instance, mi, house walls. And then that's going to be placed here. And it seems like this one was just not using the correct materials in the right slots. So I'll do the same with the materials I've already made. So I did the roof, do a copy, so we mi, roof. Oops. And we have the planks. This will be mi house planks. So all of these should have the same settings. Some of these didn't have metallic channels. So like this one had a metallic channel. I love lamp. Okay, so with that in mind, I can now take these, plug them into different paths. That should be this one. We have the walls and the roof. Great, so we fixed that one. And now I'm going to plug those same materials in to all of my houses. Roof. Wall, and the planks. This is just good practice. But I do have to come back to change the pivot point. Why is this one empty? I think that's on purpose. from Porpoise. Yeah, in terms of content, I think a lot of what I'll be doing on stream is just kind of like working and chatting. And how people will probably find me is through my evergreen content. So let's just say YouTube, for example. Like, hypothetically, I make a video, it's a couple thousand views, then they see I'm streaming the next day after they had subscribed. That's probably how, you know, people bump into me, I suppose. In terms of streaming, I'm not going to be taking it too seriously. It's just kind of like one of those things that I enjoy doing. I like meeting people. I like talking. Makes you feel less alone in the world, right? But all of you that have been so supportive this past couple years, thank you. And thanks for just popping in. Oh yeah. Hey, appreciate it. Yeah, Unreal Engine, really wish I had jumped on the bandwagon sooner. But at the same time, it's kind of like, you can kick yourself all day for doing something, for not doing something. But at the end of the day, the only thing we have is right in here or right now. The present moment. That's why they call it the present. I mean, all of you are presents. Especially you, Garnikin, Ikion, Maxi. Oh yeah. It's come a long way. I remember when it first came out, I was like, oh yeah, that's neato. And then I installed Unity. That was my first mistake. I kind of went all in on Unity, and then it made me like not enjoy game development. Thanks. Yeah, it's just one of those things where you have to force yourself to do it sometimes. No matter what type of game development. Like Unity, for example, you kind of needed to learn how to use C#. And I thought it was the same thing with Unreal. I didn't really buy into the hype when I heard difference. I was like, oh, Unity has that too. But the real kicker is that Unreal Engine has so much money behind it that they were able to advance past Unity at an alarming rate. Like I am, there's a term for it called engine agnostic, where like basically I just want to make a game. You know, I don't really care what engine I use. I just want to make a game. I'm losing it! I'm losing me! I think it's every time I click one of these, it cuts out. Dead. Yeah, that's a problem I'm gonna have to try and solve. I was able to offload this VTuber stuff because I think it's fun. Like I even have hands working. Thanks guys for letting me know. It's very apparent that if I want to stream Unreal Engine and be efficient as well as stream efficiently, I'll probably have to offload streaming to a different computer, which is possible, very, very possible. There's just some hoops I have to jump through first. Well, one thing I can do is set this to low. And that'll give me a small boost. The problem is the processing. So for example, I was adjusting the pivot points here. Every time it does that, Unreal's doing a lot of math in the background. So we'll see it here. Center, bottom, depth. So that's going to cause a spike for a moment. Yep. But then it calms back down. It's basically a couple seconds there. Okay, so all these houses are pretty much done. One thing I can check is in the mesh itself to see if the pivot point was saved there. It looks like it was. The actual mesh doesn't have the correct materials assigned, which is kind of a problem. That tells me I shouldn't be doing the materials in the scene. I could set the pivots in the scene. The materials I need to set in the actual mesh. Which is fine. I'm glad I didn't get too far ahead of myself. So for this one, it goes house planks, walls, roof. So I'd plug them in here, and then that way there's kind of like saved as a prefab. It should be good. Yeah, the one thing I'm concerned about is that roughness map. But I'll be able to adjust that. I think for now, probably the rest of the stream, which I wasn't planning on streaming too long, I'll just set the pivot points. We'll call it a day. Materials I'll worry about after. Thanks, Maxi. Okay, so I have a whole bunch of assets here. I'll do crystals next. But it doesn't look like they are attached. I don't see them. But that's okay. I'll just do what I can see then. We'll do all these staircases. Right now, I would normally be using dual screen setup. Unfortunately, to make streaming a little bit more easy on the eyes, I adjusted everything. And you guys, if you're watching on short form, it looks even worse. So I'm just trying to be conscious of it. Okay, so this is going to be all of our stairs, which I don't know if they have a... So that I can move. Okay. Great, so we can work on these. Again, we're just doing the pivot points here. Let me see if I can adjust how that looks in the vertical. I can even show you all what I'm doing. So this is what the vertical would look like. So I'm just going to adjust that window real quick. After opening modeling. This. And I'll go ahead and put it on top. Well, it's not perfect, but it's better. All right, let's fix some pivots. Yeah, my voice will probably cut in and out here. Not all of them need to be at the bottom. In fact, with some of these, I think having them at the center is better. It all depends on the asset. Sort of like houses, having them at the center bottom is good. Depends on the asset. So I think what I'll do is I'll stop the short form streams because we're close.